Hey guys, welcome back to Haunt Acting 101 with John Powell, and today with me is Sandra Bohn. And she's one of my new friends that I've met back at Pine Mountain Gold Museum Haunted, Ghost Train rather.
Yeah.
Early in the class, you've heard me talk extensively about how much I love Ghost Train and how that's where I fell in love with it because it's just such a beautiful place. And I'm glad to be back because circumstances just changed. It made it so that everybody's so thrilled to be back and a part of it. I'm back with old friends that I've missed, and I'm getting to meet new friends that are incredibly talented. And I really appreciate. And I want to thank you for stopping and taking the time driving across town. This is the first time I haven't had to drive to someone to do an interview for me. Now, a lot of the people that we've met in the past were haunt owners and just people who come out and scare specifically for Halloween and haunted houses. But Sandra has quite a bit of a background. Why don't you tell us about your background?
Okay. Well, I started out when I was really little. So I guess like some of you guys, I was about 8 years old, did some stuff at church and kind of just fell in love with theater. So originally I started out in musical theater all through high school. I was going to be a doctor, actually. And then my senior year, we did a show called Working. It's a musical that was written in the 70s, I think. And I fell in love with it, and I decided this is what I wanted to do. So I went from pre-med to theater and dance. But I never actually ended up completing college. But you should go to college. College is good. I got a little sidetracked. But ever since then, I've just done lots of shows. Like I said, musical theater was what I started in. And I've been married for almost 20 years. I've had several kids, so I did stuff here and there as much as I could. But now that my kids are a little bit older, I'm able to do a little bit more. And so 4 years, this is my fourth year. 4 years ago, I was in a play with a friend of mine who owned like a haunt production company. And she really liked my character. I was the bad guy, girl, whatever. I was the murderer. It was a murder mystery. I was the murderer. And she really liked my performance and asked if I would be part of her Ghost Train production that she was doing at Pine Mountain. And so that was my very first year back in 2016. Yeah, because it's 2020 now. And and she said she created this character specifically for me because she just liked the way I acted, I guess. And that was when I was kind of like a Jason's mom type of character, a little crazy lady out in the woods. And then I've just come back every year since. I did a evil witch one year. Last year I was a nun, not from a movie, but you know what I mean. And then this year I play Madame Cassandra, who is a gypsy fortune teller.
And you've had to kind of stretch a little bit, learn something new with that.
Well, I've been working on a Russian kind of Ukrainian accent. Yeah, that was not one I had listed on my resume. I kind of have a natural ear for that. I'm also a voice teacher because I sing, obviously. So I know a lot about how to place sounds correctly. And I'm sorry, I have a little bit of a lisp from my little Invisaligners here. Anyway, I don't normally wear them when I perform. But yeah, so learning to do the Russian accent, honestly, I watched YouTube videos. That's really what did it. I went online, found some authentic, actual Ukrainian people and just listened to them. And one girl was great. She had a whole thing like, we don't use articles. So I've been trying to drop out the words and an and the. They just don't use them in Russian. And so that's, I've learned something new there.
Da.
Da.
It is true. What do you feel brings you back consecutively?
Oh, it's so much fun. Scaring people is so much fun. And it's interesting because some of the things that I've learned in normal theater carry over to the haunt. Like just these like pregnant pauses. I did a show once where the other character had to kiss me and then there was like this huge silence. And normally in theater, you don't want silence. You don't have any dead air. But the whole point was that it built up this tension, right? Until I broke it with my next lines. And that's what you're doing when you're haunting. Like, especially when I'm the nun, you just get up really close and you just stare at them until you've built up this tension. And then all you got to do is go like, and they freak out. You don't even have to scream or anything. So it's definitely a lot of fun. Gosh, I don't know. It's just fun. It's just so much fun scaring people.
There's so much energy in it.
Oh yeah, definitely. Lots of energy.
So you have a lot going on. I'm going to make mention that you are in recording a project.
I'm
we can't
several
we can't say
projects
too much
actually.
about
Yeah,
several? Okay.
I have several independent projects. I also have a couple of syndicated projects that I'm working on, but yeah, I can't give any details on those.
But I mean, that's got to tell you a lot, guys, that she's got so many pans on the stove or
Burners on the stove,
fire.
something like that.
There's
Yeah,
something on fire. I don't know, I can't recall. But she's got so much going on, and yet she's still drawn back, like a lot of us, where we keep going back to that haunt.
and you know, and I told people when they asked me to be cast in other things, I said I'm not free Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays in October. They're already booked because I just love it so much. So I actually made other things wait until November so that I could do this here in October. Plus, I'm an October baby. I just naturally love Halloween.
Yeah. So, is there like any kind of role that you haven't been able to play, specifically with the haunt, that you might want to do in the next few years? Is there anything you've always wanted to portray?
I don't know. I mean, I'm still relatively new. I mean, only doing this for 4 years. Each time it's kind of like I've been told what I was going to do, and so I was just able to work into that character, but to come up with my own, You know, I really like Stephen King. Mm-hmm. I've always have since I was little, because that's when I first got introduced to it, as I mentioned earlier this evening, but you all weren't there. Anyway, so I think it would be cool to do some of his characters. Gosh, most of them are guys, though. It's no fun.
That's true. We do usually associate the.
I mean, I could do
the
it.
slasher with.
I could do it. I could be a creepy clown like that.
Clowns are everywhere.
Mr. Mercedes. Did you read or see that?
No.
Yeah, it had like this shapeshifter creature that was like taking over people. So that would be really cool. And I could do that even as a female. But I don't know how that would translate to a haunt.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I guess you'd have to have
harder.
several different people, maybe with the same weird contact eyes, so people would know that's them.
That's the same thing, yeah.
You would see the different actors portraying the same character down the line. But there's so much room for being creative, and that's one of the things that I think we get to put ourselves into it to a bit.
I just thought being a zombie would be cool.
Not one of my favorite roles.
No?
You can't talk a lot.
No, but they're still like the World War Z zombies, not like the Walking Dead where there's. But no, that movie scared the crud out of me.
I did find that I got some practice with doing these guttural sounds and finding new vocal ranges the 1 year that I did it. But I was extremely happy to get back to talking.
I talk a lot.
Do you have any advice for kids that maybe want to get into not just haunt acting, but acting in general? Where should they start?
Freak out your parents, honestly. Okay, they're great to practice on. When I was back in junior high and high school, I would just start talking in a British accent for like weeks on end. Just because I was fascinated with England and I thought it was cool and I wanted to be English. And so I guess that's kind of what acting is about, is like being that person. And I hear people talk about all the time, the method acting and all that. I'm not so much into method acting because I can come in and out of character really easily, but it's still jumping into the character. So freaking out your parents is a good way to start because you can become the character and your parents have to just deal with it. They can't leave because they live there. So if you want to be the nun or Annabelle or something like that, practice on your parents. I suppose your siblings too, but you might get in trouble for that.
I know I used to drive my daughter crazy.
Yeah.
Stop using that accent. What accent are you talking about?
Yeah.
This is my normal voice.
My kids are used to this because I've done it since I was pregnant with the very first one. So they've been in shows with me just inside.
Did they get a billing for that?
Not when I was pregnant, but my oldest, when he was like 1, he got to be a munchkin when I, did
think
Wizard
pregnant
of
women
Oz.
should have, and featuring,
Right?
like, yeah.
Yeah, that would be kind of cool.
Sandra, thank you so much for coming out and giving a little bit of advice.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, you can come back and give us a little bit more information about what you're doing when you're legally able to talk
Right,
about
when
some of your
things are
projects.
settled.
And hopefully we can come back and talk about the haunt that we've had. It's going great so far. I get to work with her personally. I get to be her manservant.
I get to yell at him all the time.
Yeah, she gets to yell. It's great. it's going wonderful. So I hope you've learned a little bit of something from this lesson, and we'll see you next time, guys.
Yep.
Thanks.
Keep at it.